Throughout their history, France has always tried to form a rear alliance. This is just getting an ally at the other side of their enemy in order to create a second front. The most famous of which happened just before World War I, when they formed an alliance with Russia because they were fearful of Germany. But, for instance, in the 16th century, they formed alliances with Hungary and Poland against Austria. Later on, they formed alliances with the Native American tribes and later America against Britain, and of course before that they formed alliances with Scotland in the 13th century against England. They also formed alliances with Persia during the Napoleonic Wars in order to fight Russia and Britain. And they also, just before World War II, formed an alliance with Poland against Germany, but tried to form alliances with Italy and the Soviet Union. They also formed a couple alliances that shocked most of Europe at the time. For instance, in the 8th century, they formed an alliance with the Abbasids against the Umayyads when the Umayyads in Spain were trying to conquer France. And in the 16th century, in order to fight Austria again, they formed an alliance with the Ottomans. But in the 13th century, the French formed an alliance with the Mongols. Well, technically not the Mongols, it was the Ilkhanate, the Iranian division of the Mongol Empire. Anyway, both nations agreed to make this alliance against a mutual enemy, the Mamluks. After all, this was during the Crusades, and the Mongols were trying to advance into the Levant and probably Europe and Africa, but they had just been beaten by the Mamluks at the Battle of Ain-Jalut. The Battle of Ain-Jalut was important for a lot of reasons, but in terms of this story, it was important because just 40 years before this alliance was formed, the Pope sent a letter to the Guyuk Khan saying please stop attacking Christian nations, but the Khan responded saying pretty much no, only if you come and surrender to me. So this battle helped change Mongol perspectives about Christian nations, but it should be said that they very rarely saw people as allies. They always saw them as either enemies or subjects. But they did agree to give the Crusaders Jerusalem if and when they took it. Anyway, early on in this alliance, the French helped the Mongols in attacking Syria, but it didn't prove to be very effective for the French help because of the communication problems. But the Mongols did agree to help King Louis of France in the 7th and 8th Crusade. However, King Louis was defeated in Egypt in the 7th Crusade before the Mongols had time to help out, and in the 8th Crusade, King Louis landed in Tunisia instead of Palestine, so that was far away from where the Mongols were, and they couldn't help out. In fact, it was the English who managed to get the most help from the Mongols during the 9th Crusade, but this also proved relatively ineffective. And in just a couple decades, plague and civil war had torn apart the Mongol Empire, and the Crusader states fell to the Muslims. And although messages between the two powers sort of kept going for a while, this effectively ended the Franco-Mongol alliance, which could have been good, but it proved to be pretty ineffective.